Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic is going to be stop trying to get rid of the pain or symptoms. Tractor Boy's dog. Hopefully that doesn't bug you too much. I'll take a couple of breaths and then get into the video. It's crisp. It's in the 50s, a little bit overcast. The weather report with Dan. All right. So stop trying to get rid of the pain. The primary reason for that is because when you're doing that, your primary focus is the pain. Right? You've heard the term neuroplastic pain. Or maybe you haven't, but neuroplastic pain basically means that the brain has learned to keep the pain signals going, primarily because of ongoing perceived dangers. And so if the brain has become learned in neuroplastic, the more you focus on and give attention to the pain by trying to fix it and get rid of it and monitor it and evaluate it and how do I get rid of it, you're constantly utilizing those neuroplastic connections, which makes it much harder for the brain to let go. So when I say stop trying to get rid of your pain, it goes along with many of the things I say often, which is make living your life more important than fixing yourself, right? And I know we have something that's very unpleasant, very disturbing to ourselves and our life. It's upsetting, it's frustrating, it's scary, and we want to get rid of it, we want to get rid of it, we want to get rid of it. And by doing that, you're clinging on to it tightly, right? That's not the way it works. We want to make the brain realize that this pain is not significant, it is not important. And the analogy I'll use, and I've used it before, but is when I was in high school, I took 2 years of Spanish. I was not good at Spanish, but I had to pass the class in order to graduate because I didn't want my dad to kick my ass for not graduating. So I learned Spanish, and my brain formed these neural connections because I had to learn it. Now, when I was done, when I graduated, I no longer needed Spanish. I could not have unlearned Spanish by focusing on it and speaking it every day. It's not how the brain works. So by simply deciding to shift my attention to some college classes, playing musical instruments, and focusing on that life, all by itself, my brain said, we don't need Spanish anymore. And those neural pathways, the less they were used, the less they fired, and the less I remembered Spanish. And because that was such a complete disconnect from don't need to learn that anymore, don't need to carry that around anymore, and I shifted my attention 100% away from the Spanish language, it was gone very quickly. And so when I say don't focus on or don't try to get rid of your pain, you're speaking the language of pain. And the more you talk about it with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with anybody who will listen online and commenting and telling everybody about how horrible it is and how incredibly painful it is and how your life sucks, you're speaking Spanish. You're utilizing that language of pain, and your brain is keeping those neural connections wired and firing. And so that's not how we teach the brain that this is no longer important, that this is not significant. And I don't know if you remember me saying this, but there's two things that make pain or other symptoms persistent or chronic. Fear and what? Attention, focus. Right? And so the less we focus on it, the faster the brain gets the message that these neural pathways don't need to keep on firing anymore. But it's going to be really tough for you to take your attention away from it if you're still terrified of the pain, which is why it's so important to understand what is going on, what is causing the pain, getting really clear that TMS, mind-body syndrome, that's the only reason that you have pain. Perceived danger pain. Not some physical structural problem. And again, if you're uncertain, get clear. If you're doubtful, doubt creates delay in recovery. So it's really important to get clear so you can dial down the fear so that you can shift your attention away from the pain so your brain can let go of those neural connections that have become learned. Now keep in mind, your brain is not damaged. Your nervous system is not damaged. There's no, like when people talk about, oh, I've got a highly sensitive nervous system. It's working perfectly. It's just that the volume is turned up to 12. And so it's really important to be able to shift your attention away from fixing yourself, from focusing on getting rid of the pain, which so many of us do as a full-time job, 18 hours a day that we're awake. We're trying to get rid of the pain. And that doesn't help from a neurological standpoint, because what you focus on the most, the brain's going to keep connected. And if you're fearful of it, you're not going to be able to stop focusing on it, which is why it's so important to understand what's going on. The term perceived danger pain explains it all to me. And in yesterday's video, go back and watch it. I give a really, I think, complete summary of what's causing it, how to figure out if it's what's going on for you, and most importantly, how to get rid of it, which is all that safety therapy I'm talking about, which is shifting your attention, living your life, and not really giving this a whole heck of a lot of time or energy or attention. So it's pretty straightforward, just a little bit about neuroplastic pain and the best way to stop having those neural connections firing together is to give it as little significance as possible by turning your attention away from it as often as possible. And you don't have to immediately go 100%. That doesn't happen overnight. So focus on it less today than you did yesterday, less tomorrow than you did today, etc. Right? But dial down the fear first, because it's going to be really tough to engage in life and make living your life more important than the pain if you're still terrified. So that's all I got. Nice short one today. Love you guys and gals, and we'll see you tomorrow.